Hey everybody, this is Death by D4, and welcome to my guide on how to play as the Warlock class in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. There's a lot to go over, so be sure to subscribe and let's dive right on in. At first level you get a D8 for your hit die, proficiencies in light armor, simple weapons, wisdom saving throws, charisma saving throws, and 2 skills of your choice from Arcana, Deception, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, and Religion. You also get Pact Magic, which allows you to cast spells using your charisma. As an additional note, you're a spells known caster. You also get to pick your Warlock subclass at first level. So far you can pick from the Pact of the Archfey, Celestial, Fiend, Great Old One, Hexblade, and Undying, all of which offer you new features at 1st, 6th, 10th, and 14th level. Honestly, just pick whatever subclass speaks to your character the most. I won't go over all the features of these subclasses right now, but if you'd like me to in a future video, please let me know down in the comments below. So what does all of this mean? Well, you're pretty squishy, but at least you have your light armor proficiency to help you out in this regard. With simple weapons, you can kinda hit people if you'd like, but you won't be dealing out any kind of serious damage with weapons like that. Your skills are, unfortunately, not all that great, so I wouldn't stress about them all too much. As for your Pact Magic feature, there's a couple of weird things concerning it that I'd just like to explain. First off, you gain a unique spell slot known as the Warlock spell slot. How appropriate. This spell slot increases both in number and in level as you level up, capping out at 4 5th level spell slots. Because of this, that means that you're not going to have anywhere near as many spell slots as other spellcasters. Heck, even the half-caster classes get more spell slots than you do. However, unlike with all of those spellcasters, your Warlock spell slots recharge after a short rest, meaning that you can get them back very easily. That said, I would say that Pact Magic isn't going to be your primary feature moving forward. Don't get me wrong, it's still a really nice feature for you to have, but you won't be able to rely on it in the same way as other spellcasters do. At least not without having to cause yourself a bit of grief. Oh, and before I forget, as a spells known caster, you can only switch out your spells whenever you level up, so just keep that in mind. Overall, this is a very weird and unique way to start off a class. Still not what I would consider to be very good for first level, but it's definitely one that has some potential to improve itself over time. At 2nd level, you get Eldritch Invocations, which allows you to select up to 2 bonuses for yourself from a massive list of invocations. As you level up, you'll be able to pick and select from even more invocations and also be able to swap them out. I won't go over all of the Eldritch Invocations right now. Seriously, there's like 46 of them. But there's definitely some really good options for you to pick from, like Agonizing Blast, which allows you to add your Charisma modifier to the damage roll of your Eldritch Blasts. Devil's Sight allows you to clearly see through any darkness, including magical darkness, for up to 120 feet. And Ascendant Step, which allows you to cast Levitate at will. Wow, there are some seriously incredible options for you here, and considering how limited your spell slots with Pact Magic is, that means this gives you a whole lot more magical versatility without necessarily needing to expend a spell slot. Either way, just make sure you take into serious consideration which Eldritch Invocations that you want to go with, as they have a lot of amazing potential for you. At 3rd level, you get Pact Boon, which allows you to pick one of several sets of new features for yourself. Honestly, it's kind of like getting a second subclass of sorts, although this is very minor in comparison. With Pact of the Blade, you gain the ability to spend 1 hour to bond yourself to a weapon and then transform it into a summonal piece of equipment. When you do so, you gain proficiency in the weapon, and it becomes magical for the purposes of overcoming damage resistances to non-magical attacks. Definitely a really nice feature for you to have, especially if you're interested in playing as that melee-focused spellcaster. With Pact of the Chain, you gain an expanded version of the Find Familiar spell, allowing you to summon a wider variety of familiars. You also gain the ability to have your familiar attack instead of yourself whenever you make an attack action. Definitely not a crazy unique or powerful feature for you to have, but the uses of a familiar should never be understated, as it allows you to seriously expand your character's roleplay and utility quite considerably. Finally, with Pact of the Tome, you gain a Book of Shadows containing 3 cantrips of your choice from any class's spell list. Most importantly, when you cast these 3 cantrips, you get to cast them using your charisma score. In the event something ever happens to your Book of Shadows, you can simply regain it by finishing a short rest. Well, for those of you interested in loading yourself up with a whole bunch of cantrips, then this feature's got you covered. Overall, a really nice selection of features for you to choose from, and ones that will really help enhance and diversify your playstyle for your character. At 4th level, just like everybody else, you get your ability score increase, which you get again at 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th levels. On the topic of stats, I'd be sure to max out your charisma score first, followed up by your dexterity and constitution score second. Beyond that, maybe put some points into your strength or wisdom score if you really require it. Otherwise, I would just avoid putting any points into your intelligence score, as, surprise surprise, it's really not going to be doing anything for you. At 11th level, you get Mystic Arcanum, which allows you to learn one Warlock spell of 6th level and cast it without expending a spell slot once per long rest. You get this feature again at 13th, 15th, and 17th levels, from where you can pick from a 7th, 8th, and 9th level spell accordingly. So, in a sense, this feature is what allows you to cast higher level spells as a Warlock. Definitely not a bad feature for you to have, but also certainly nothing crazy. Just keep in mind that you will not be able to change your Mystic Arcanums after you selected them, so make sure that you're happy with them when you take them. Finally, at 20th level, you get Eldritch Master, which allows you to spend 1 minute to regain all of your packed magic spell slots once per long rest. Anything else? Nope, that's it. Damn well. Though this is still a nice feature for you to have, the fact that it requires a full minute in order to be used just plain sucks, as it basically prevents you from ever being able to use it during combat. All in all, a really disappointing feature for you to have, especially for your 20th level. Alright, so that does it for all of the class features. Now on to just a few of my own personal recommendations concerning it. If you'd like to play as a Warlock and you have no idea where to start with a race, I'd recommend the Tiefling. It gets you bonuses to your intelligence and charisma scores, dark vision, resistance to fire damage, the Thaumaturgy cantrip, and the ability for you to cast Hellish Rebuke and Darkness each once a day for free. Though being able to play as a Tiefling can be a bit campaign dependent, there's just no denying that it's a great race for you to pick as a Warlock. Honestly, if you want my other recommendation, maybe consider playing as an Aasimar Protector, as that also has a lot of synergies that work really well with being a Warlock. Now, as for feats, Resilient can be really good for you to take, as that can then grant you proficiency in Constitution saving throws, allowing you to have a better chance of succeeding on all of your concentration checks. Ritual Caster can also be good if you want to be able to cast spells as a ritual, or even Crossbow Expert, as that will then allow you to properly cast your ranged attack spells while your target is within 5 feet of you. Oh, and for those of you interested in some super long range combat, consider taking Spell Sniper, as combining this with the Eldritch Spear invocation will grant your Eldritch Blast an insane range of 600 feet. Sure, that's a bit overkill if you ask me, but for those of you interested in being a really backline caster, then this will really allow you to do that quite easily. Finally, let's talk about spells. Now, when picking your cantrips, just take Eldritch Blast, as it's not only the best damaging cantrip in the entire game, but many of your Eldritch invocations actually enhance it, arguably making it the best damage dealing option in general for you. Aside from that, you can also look into taking cantrips like Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, or Prestidigitation, as all of those can grant you some pretty nice utility for purposes outside of combat. Now, as for the rest of your spells, here's a list of a bunch of useful ones that I feel are worth looking into. Hex, Darkness, Earthbind, Hold Person, Invisibility, Mind Spike, Mirror Image, Misty Step, Shadow Blade, Suggestion, Counterspell, Dispel Magic, Fly, Hypnotic Pattern, Remove Curse, Banishment, Dimension Door, Sickening Radiance, Far Step, Negative Energy Flood, Synaptic Static, Wall of Light, Circle of Death, Flesh to Stone, Mass Suggestion, Mental Prison, Soul Cage, True Seeing, Crown of Stars, Etherealness, Feeble Mind, Maddening Darkness, Power Word Stun, Foresight, and True Polymorph. And that's it. That's everything you need to know in order to play as a Warlock. Personally, I believe that the Warlock class is best played as a backline spellcaster whose role is to deal damage during combat and provide utility for the rest of the party. However, that's just my opinion, so what are your thoughts on the matter? Are you excited to give the Warlock a try? And, if you have already, what was your experience with it like? Let me know down in the comments below. If you'd like to support the channel, be sure to give this video a like and consider supporting me over on Patreon. Patreon supporters gain access to my patron-only server over on Discord, where you can join in on my games and chat with me and other patrons about anything D&D related. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you haven't, and if you're interested in seeing more videos of mine, here's one right up over here. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see all of you in the next video.